Okay, my recording has started. Great. Okay, so first of all, I'd just like to introduce myself. My name is Mrs. Summerfield and I'm currently the head of Year 4 at WEC. I've completed 4 years at WEC now. This is my 5th year and I've been head of Year for 3 years, all of which have been in Year 4. I hope your children are really excited to join Year 4. The aim of this session today is just to give you a little bit of information about how you can get ready for Year 4, things that you can prepare over the summer, things that you can do with your children, and just what to expect really when the children join Year 4. Now, when we go back to school in September, hopefully, fingers crossed, we will also have another presentation which will hopefully be a face-to-face presentation which will give you much more information than what I'm going to give you today. I'm just basically providing information on how you can get the children ready in advance. And we have had a few more people join us, so just to let you guys know that this session is recorded, so if you don't want your video to be on the recording which other parents will see, please turn your cameras off. Thank you. If you want to stay on, no problem at all. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen to go through the presentation. If somebody could just reply yes if you can see my screen now, that'd be great.
Yes.
Yes.
See that.
Yes. So, welcome to Year 4. If you do have any questions throughout this session, you can either just pop it into the chat box, which I'll get to at the end, or I've left a slide at the end to ask any questions. If you can just keep them in mind until the end of the session, that would be great. So let's get started. So, who are the go-to people in Year 4? So when your children move into Year 4, we have Mr. Cooper on the left, who is now our Vice Principal, and that's me on the right. I'm Mrs. Summerfield and I am the head of Year 4. So what to expect in Year 4? Now, when the children move into Year 4, they do have an increase in independence and responsibility because we do have the introduction of the iPads, which I am sure they're all very excited about. Now, I am going to be talking a little bit more about iPads on the next few slides, so I will come back to that. The home learning menu, yes?
What's the meeting ID?
I'm not sure, sweetheart. It should have been sent in an email. It's on D6. If somebody can't get on, don't worry, because this is recorded so we can share it with you afterwards. The home learning menu, which you can see at the bottom right-hand side of this screen, is checked weekly in Year 4. This should be very, very similar to what the children have already been doing in previous years at WEC. We update the home learning menu each half term, and we ask the children to do 1 or 2 activities from there a week, which are usually linked to our topic, depending on what that topic may be. The reading passport we check daily. The children kind of in dojos, so like house points, for reading every single day, and we encourage it so much because reading has such a massive impact on the children's writing as well. So we try and encourage every single day, and we'll be checking this by seeing if parents have signed in their child's reading passport to show that they have read. Now, the spelling test we have weekly as well. I'll talk to you a little bit more about where the spellings will be posted onto Padlet, but we do have a spelling test every week, and we also write the results in the child's reading passport so that parents can know what the children have got in their spelling test as well. So the reading passport is not just used for reading, but it's used for teacher and parent communication. So if you ever want to write me a message in the reading passport, that's fine, because we check them every day, so we will get that. Okay, moving on to the bit that I'm sure all the parents have been waiting for. It is the introduction to the iPad. Now, the online learning, if we can take any sort of bonus from it, it is that the fact that the children in Year 3 have had a little bit of a head start. They've been using their iPads already now for lessons and learning. They've been using Seesaw, so they are going to be more familiar with it when they join Year 4. So like I said, they've had that head start, which is good. Now, the children take part in online safety lessons throughout the year. So each half term, all of the teachers in years 4, 5 and 6 go over and reiterate online safety lessons. So this will cover cyberbullying, it will cover not sharing personal information online, consequences of this, and we completely go over it every single half term because it's so important to be reminded throughout the year. Now, in September, when the children join the school, they'll meet with their teachers and they will discuss some rules together on what they think should be important when using iPads. So the class come up with these rules together, and using those rules, sorry, I just keep admitting people in. Using these rules, the children will make WEC iPad contracts. So the children make the rules, they sign to say they understand them. So this is really beneficial for us because then throughout the year, if a child, for example, is on an activity when they should be doing a lesson, we can refer back to these WEC iPad contracts and say, you know, you've signed these rules, you know the rules, so this is the consequence. So for me in particular, if a child, I mean, it happens so very rarely, but if a child isn't using their iPads properly, then we say that we can't bring them in the following day, which they really don't like. So it's something that they, to be honest, they become so responsible with them. So this is never really an issue anyway. Okay, so children are to only use iPads in lessons when they've been told to. So we use iPads as a tool to enhance the learning. We don't use it all the time. The children aren't on games. We give them specific apps, specific activities to go and do. Now, it does say here that the children are not allowed to use the iPads during playtime and lunchtime. However, when it is hot play, which is usually at the beginning and the very end of the year, we allow the children to earn a reward once per week for 20 minutes during lunchtime. As it is hot play and they can't go outside and do anything, so that is like a little reward that they can get, but that's only during the hot play times. But usually we do not allow any iPad time during playtime or lunchtime, and it's only educational activities only. It's very important to note as well that iPads are not used in all lessons. We might have some days where we don't use them at all. We just use them where, like I said, we can enhance the learning and make it a little bit more interesting. Talking more about iPads, in September when we have our Welcome to Year 4 session, we will go into a lot more detail about how we use the iPads. So we usually give another presentation and it gives you examples of how we might use the iPads in science or in maths or English, just to enhance the learning. So that'll be able to give you a lot more information on that as well. So what needs to be on the iPad? So within the next 3 weeks, the Year 4 teachers are currently preparing the children's Padlet, which will be their Padlet when they move into Year 4. And on here, we'll be uploading some important documents, one of which will be the iPad app recommendations. It's very important for you to know that all the apps that we recommend you get before September, they are all free. So if a child comes home one day from school and says, oh, my teacher says that I need to download this app and it's 25 dirhams, it's not true, because all the apps that we have asked you to get are always free. We will never ask you to get an app that you have to pay for. So as mentioned, this will be popped onto a Padlet that we're currently in the process of making. So you'll know this in advance before the children join in September. So it's good just to have all those apps ready. It's very important, and it is one of our rules that iPad has. Oh, guys, can you keep yourself muted, please? It's very important that the children have a hard case on their iPads. It's never happened before where a child has broken the iPad in my class, but we've always been very stern with the fact that they have to have a hard case, and preferably one that completely covers the front in case the children drop them. Obviously, the children in Year 4, they may have to use their iPads in Arabic, so they're not just having them in the classroom, they're walking to their Arabic class, they're walking to their Islamic class, their French class, wherever they may need it. So it's very important to have a hard case. In the event that the child happens to lose an iPad, which also, do not worry, has never happened in Year 4, it's very important to have the location services on, and the Find My iPad must be set up. So if your child does happen to leave their iPad on the bus or in Arabic, then we can always locate it. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the communication now. So the communication will be the same as it was in Year 3. So we have a Year 4 Padlet, which you'll be able to see the QR code on the left. That's also where the children's summer home learning will be posted. Now the Year 4 Padlet is for Year 4 notices only. We recommend that you check the Padlet every day because we're constantly and always putting new notices up. The children's home learning is on there, the spellings are on there, Arabic and Islamic homework is on there as well, and also any notices that are particular for Year 4 from specialist subjects. So we do recommend that Padlet is checked every day, specifically for Year 4 updates. Moving on to D6. D6 is more of a whole school communication. So if we have events going on in the school, like a summer fair or sports day, the whole school events will be posted onto D6. In terms of communication with the teacher, you will have access to your teacher's email address. You can email them anytime with any questions, any queries, and we also have an open door policy at WEC, which means that we are always happy to have a meeting with you whenever you want to face-to-face. If you just drop us an email or phone call, and we will be happy to arrange that for you. We do have this, just the same as Year 3, face-to-face parent meetings every term, which will go over how your child is doing in Year 4, their reports, any targets they need to work on. But if you do want an additional face-to-face meeting, that is no problem at all. So moving on to the social media, we have our Instagram, which I have put the link at the bottom left. It's WEC_Year 4. If you want to give us a follow before your child joins into Year 4, you can see what we've been doing in the previous 2 years. We try to update Instagram as often as we can. I do recommend doing it because, you know, whilst you're sat at home, sometimes we go live, you can see what your child's up to in their science lesson or if we're on a school trip. And we always post photos and videos, so it's really, really nice to follow our Instagram. The Facebook page, again, is more of a whole school event. So if there's sports day or, like I said, the summer fairs, the Facebook is more whole school, whereas the Instagram is specifically for the Year 4 classes. Now, the GEMS Connect app, which I'm sure you've already used, is all about your child's information. So it says here your school reports will be found here, school bus, fee payments, attendance. And if you have any questions about the GEMS Connect app, we recommend that you contact the reception. Miss Stephanie Foster is in the reception on the ground floor, who is our parent representative, who will be able to help you with that. I've noticed that people are raising their hands. Don't worry, I'm going to get to any questions at the end. If you could just hold on to them for me or pop them in the chat. If for whatever reason you cannot come in for a meeting with us, but you want to have a chat with us, then we can give you a phone call, no problem at all. Sorry, let me set this person. Or for example, if there's an incident in the school day or if your child's fallen over and hurt themselves, we will be available to phone call you as well. Now, I'm sure you're all aware of what Padlet looks like, because I'm sure it's very similar in Year 3, but I just wanted to give a quick example. So this is our Year 4 Padlet at the moment. So on the left-hand side, we have our home learning, where we've got fun spelling activities to try at home. Notices in here, it might be that we've got a dress up day coming up, or we've got a science experiment like this one is here coming up, and just how what the children will need to bring into school. Now, the spellings we post each half term, and they are dated. So you'll know exactly when the spelling test is coming up and exactly when they're going to be, so that you can check that the children have practice for those. And then we have a range of skills boosts, so maths, English and science skills boost, which are optional extra activities that the children can do at home if you wish. So the Padlet, again, please check every day because it's constantly being updated. Moving on to some of the fun stuff now. So what school trips and topics do we do in Year 4? I've just chosen a few here as we have so many. Starting off with the top left, we have the Romans. You can see the children there from this academic year when we dressed up for Roman Day. We also have our North America topic. So where the children, in this instance, became travel agents, and they were persuading parents to visit their chosen country within North America. That was a parental engagement that was really, really successful, that we've done for a few years in a row now. So hopefully we'll be able to do the same parental engagement next year, next academic year. And moving on to the right-hand side, we have our Islamic civilization topic. So we went on a bus tour to visit Old and New Dubai, and then we stopped to have a light lunch in the Madinat, which was lovely. And below that picture, you'll be able to see us in the Islamic Civilization Museum. And then the last two pictures, the bottom left and middle, was part of our science topic, living things and their habitats. So we visited the Abu Dhabi this year, the zoo, and the middle picture was when we went to the Dubai Aquarium to learn about the habitats there. So we do have so many fun trips and topics in year 4. Another really good thing that we do in year 4 as well is our last half term, we always allow the children to take a vote on what they want their topic to be. So it's more of a child-led topic rather than us just choosing it for them. For example, this year and last year, the children have chosen to do superheroes. So we're having a superhero dress-up day, and all of our lessons are like talking about superheroes. We've done Mr. Men days before. So it's really, really nice to allow the children to choose their own topic and have a vote. So this is a typical year 4 timetable. It will be similar to the year 3, but just a few changes, which I'm going to go through now. So we have our usual daily English and maths lessons, science, connected curriculum, social studies, moral education and enrichment, which is where we develop our skills. Now those lessons will be the ones that the children have with the year 4 teachers. The specialist subjects, which one of the changes will be from year 3 to year 4, the children will have 2 PE lessons in year 4 a week. However, you will notice that these are split. So where the boys have PE, the girls will have swimming, and where the girls have PE, the boys will have swimming. So the boys and the girls do get separated when they go into year 4. They have 1 lesson of French a week and their Arabic and Islamic lessons. Any children, again, that don't go to Islamic will have a skills boost activity with the year 4 teachers instead. So that's just an example of a typical year 4 timetable. So what can you do at home? So obviously we've been having online learning now for quite a while, and the children are really fed up at being at home. They just want to get back to school. But it's very, very important that when the online learning ends on the 2nd of July, that we don't just do nothing for the 7 weeks. We need to keep the children engaged, keep them busy, so that when they come back in September, they are ready to join into year 4 and they're ready for their learning. So here's just a few examples of what you can do at home. So reading, they have Read Theory, which is an app. The children can read a short section and then they ask questions. So it's really good for their reading fluency and their comprehension. You can do shared reading where they read with somebody else, or independent reading. And examples could be magazines, books, non-fiction or library visits. Moving on to the maths, we have ICT Games, which is a website. It's really good because they have a variety of games on there. And also for maths, it's not on here, but we do have Education City. So the year 3 children now will already have a username and a logon. And any children that are joining WEC that don't have that yet, I'll be happy to get that as soon as they join us. Telling the time, so for example, oh, you know, what time is it today? Oh, could you just check how much money I've got in my purse? Oh, how many grams of this do we need for baking today or cooking? And times tables is such a big one. By the end of year 4, the children need to know all of their times tables up to 12 times 12 fluently and quickly. So the earlier you start, the better. So please keep practicing those times tables over the summer holidays. I do recommend having a song. I always think that when the children learn via songs, and there's so many songs on Education City for the times tables, they seem to retain it much better. In terms of encouraging their writing over the summer holidays, you can ask your child to write the shopping list for you. They can write a letter to their friend that they might not be able to see for a while, or a family member that lives in another country or lives far away, they can write letters to, or notes or emails. And please use Padlet for a range of activities. So as soon as the Padlet is released to you, not only will it have the summer home learning on there, it will also have all of the skills boosts that I previously mentioned, which are just nice fun activities to keep the children engaged. We keep those skills boosts on throughout the year so the children can pick and choose and do them at any time. Be positive and celebrate effort is such an important one, because the children, when they're rewarded, they're more engaged, they're more determined to keep trying. So just remember to be positive and celebrate effort. So celebrate what they do well rather than what they have struggled with. Just before I ask any questions, my email address is here. It's k.loach_wec@gemsedu.com. If you have any questions that you can't think of right now and you want to email me, that's fine. You can contact me at any time. I will have access to my emails over the summer holidays as well, so you'll be able to contact me. As I've already said, this session has been recorded. So for those of you who have joined late, there's no problem at all. This has been recorded and we can share it with you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now so that I can see some of the questions that are in the chat. And then I'll start getting through these. Yes, this is a really good question. Does it have to be an iPad or any tablet? So it does have to be an Apple iPad, and this is because we use a lot of Apple products in school, so then it'll just make sure that the children's iPad is compatible. So for example, we sometimes airdrop, if we're reading a book, we airdrop things to the children, they airdrop their work to me, so it does have to be an Apple iPad. If you can't hear my voice, I hope you managed to figure it out, but this is recorded, don't worry. Mr. Cooper saving the day on the chat.
So
yes.
for the, we can confirm we need to purchase an iPad. Yes, so you need to purchase an iPad, an up-to-date iPad, anything that's still, any iPad that is still being updated, so i.e. the Apple is still updating the iPad whenever it brings out a new iOS, will be perfectly compatible with in school. If an iPad is sold that it is no longer updating itself, then we recommend that we don't use one of those iPads, because then apps become not functional on those iPads. So any iPad that you have already that already updates itself and continues to update itself is absolutely fine. And if you need any support with that, then speak to the a representative from the Apple Store, and they'll be able to advise on which one is necessary. One thing that I don't know whether Miss Summerfield has mentioned is people say what type of iPad. So there's obviously iPad minis, your kind of standard iPad Air, and then your iPad Pro. My suggestion would be that go for the standard iPad. An iPad mini is great, particularly for smaller hands, but sometimes using the touchscreen is a bit more challenging because of its small nature. And an iPad Pro, I don't feel at the moment for our young students is necessary. They don't need a giant iPad, and because they're quite big, they're quite difficult to move around. You know, take them off to the science laboratories and this type of thing where they'll be using them. So a standard size iPad would be recommended.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Does anybody have any more questions? Anybody?
Miss?
Oh, yes.
When you said that you put your link in the, where did you put your email link? I forgot what you said.
I'm going to type it now into the chat box so you can see it, okay?
All the work on Seesaw, Arizu, all the work on Seesaw will be, will continue to be available, and indeed, at the end of this year, we'll show you how you as a parent can use your parent application to download your child's work. So you can see all of their work from this year, and you can have it as a PDF, so you can continue to refer back to all the work that they've done. And the final one is, so year 3 students are in the classes, are they going to be in the same as year 4? That all depends on enrolment. So obviously right now there are 4 year 3 classes, and if we have enough students re-enroll to maintain the 4 classes, then we're going to look at keeping the classes as similar as possible. But obviously if we have more enrolment, so we have to open a 5th class, then we want to make sure there's a balance, because obviously if we kept all those students in the same classes and open up a new class, there may only be 5 or 6 students in that class, and that wouldn't be fair. So we wanted to make sure we'd then have to mix classes up to make sure there's a balance of numbers across all year groups. And the same way, if we have to reduce the number of size of classes, which we're hoping we don't have to do, we will obviously have to mix classes up again. But we will do our best to make sure that all the classes stay as similar as possible to ensure that all the children are with their friends. One thing that I'm just literally typing right now is the letter that is going to share a link to allow the children. Every year we ask them to select their friends that they would like to stay with in a class, and so that link will be shared out, and that letter will be shared with you this week, so that students can select the friends that they would like to be in the same class as, and that will be used to inform new classes if we have to mix children, if that makes sense. Obviously class allocation is a very complex process and takes a lot of work, but we'll do our best to make sure it is as familiar as possible.
Just have a question here about, do you have any link for learning for Arabic A? So when the children receive their Year 4 Padlets, any Arabic A, Arabic B, Islamic A and B home learning will be posted onto the Padlet as well. In the meantime, if you wanted to contact one of the Arabic teachers, you can just let me know and I can happily give you an email address, or maybe you can already email the Arabic teacher that they have at the moment. Yes, Seesaw will definitely still be on. We use Seesaw quite a lot in Year 4 for sharing our work.
Yeah, obviously over the summer, the teachers won't be setting lessons, etc. in Seesaw, but all the work that is there will stay on there. We won't delete anything. And as I said before, I will share how, as a parent, you can download their work. As just like you take their books home, there's an option on Seesaw for you to download their student's profile and all the work that they've completed.
Mr. Cooper, we've got, what is the maximum number of the classes in Year 4?
Currently, maximum number is 24, so the same as Year 3. And who would be our class teacher in Year 4? As I've said just before, we don't know that yet until we know all the enrolment. So we're waiting for people to confirm whether they're re-enrolling. So if you haven't re-enrolled yet, then please do, because that helps us plan for which teachers are going to stay in the year group and which teachers need to move. We currently have 5 teachers in Year 4, so if we keep the same number of classes, then we'll obviously be moving a different teacher to a different year group. So all dependent on exactly what enrolments look like over the next few weeks and indeed into the beginning of the summer. But as soon as classes have been formed and we're clear on what enrolments look like, then we'll be able to share exactly who the class teachers will be, etc. And will it be in school or outside of school? As soon as we know, then we will let you know. So obviously we've not been shared by the KHDA on whether we will be in school, out of school, or somewhere in between. We're hoping it will be in school. We want to be back in school, but ultimately we'll wait for KHDA. And as soon as we know as a school what the options are, we will obviously share that with you. I'm pretty sure KHDA will probably announce it via media, so you'll probably be aware of it at the same time as we are made aware of what the September will look like. But we're making plans for all options to make sure that the children, no matter what situation we're in, receive the highest quality of education possible, and also additionally are safe. Okay.
I think that's all the questions I can see for now. Can we use EPIC and AR tests during the summer? Yes, they will be accessible. If your current Year 3 teacher has given you a username and password for Get EPIC, that's not going to go anywhere. So that's good that you want to keep that up. As I previously mentioned, if you guys want to email me if you think of more questions later on, no problem at all. I'm happy to answer any questions. So you can just drop me an email. Mr. Cooper, do you know where this recording will be shared?
Yeah, so at the end of this week, when all of these meetings are complete, a PDF will be sent out on D6 with all of the links to the recordings.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much. I'm really glad on how many parents have turned up in the end. We've got 36 participants, which is really good. Thank you so much for coming. Again, this was just an overall general, get a feeling of what the children need to expect when they come into Year 4. And in September, we will have another presentation, as I mentioned, hopefully face-to-face, where we will give you a lot more information on what the children can expect for the year as well, where we go into a lot more detail with the iPads. So thank you all for coming. Mr. Cooper, any final messages?
No, that's everything. I hope you have an enjoyable summer. And as soon as we get any information in terms of what September will look like, we'll of course share with you. And of course, in terms of class allocations, etc., all that will be informed as to what enrolments look like over the next few weeks and certainly into July as well. But as soon as we have accurate class lists, we wouldn't want to share class lists that would change due to new enrolments or people having to leave Dubai, etc. As soon as we're sure that we've got an accurate picture of how many teachers we need and what the classes will look like, we'll of course share you all this information as and when we're finalised. Okay. So have an enjoyable summer. Stay safe. And thank you very much for attending this event.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thanks, Miss.